Right. Welcome in to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the Viking Age. I'm your host, Adam Patrick. I'm the editor and lead writer for the Viking Age. I am joined by my co-host, Chris Schad, who writes for us here at the Viking Age as well. And he does write for some other sports online publishers also. Before we get started today, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and head to the description because we are still giving away a free Justin Jefferson jersey. So check that out. The rules for entry are in the description, so go check that out. But right now, we are going to react to the first pick made by the Vikings in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. It took a while. We thought the Vikings were going to be picking at pick number 12, but then they decided to make a trade with a divisional rival, the Detroit Lions. They traded the number 12 pick and the number 46 pick to the Lions in exchange for the 32nd pick, the 34th pick, and I believe the 66th pick, which is also at the top of the third round. Um, eh, Trade was okay. But then the back of the third round with Malik Willis not back of the third round, back of the first round with Malik Willis sitting available, Desmond Ridder available. The Vikings went defense. They went with safety Lewis Cine out of Georgia. He was part of the Georgia national championship team, obviously. So, he obviously was good enough to play for them. So hopefully he will be good enough to just make an immediate impact for the Vikings. It was an eventful night, but Chris, just some of your immediate thoughts on the Vikings pick and kind of everything that they did and everything else that went on throughout the first night of the draft.
Okay. So where do we start here? Let's start with just how I comprehended this, because as you can see on the YouTube channel, I have a full page of notes. Because when I get a little depressed about things, now that I got it in the thing, because I must be like 55 years old, because it's like, can you see my notes?
Yeah.
But I have a full page of notes here, kind of just listing the good and the bad, because when I have something that confuses me or I don't
Mhm.
understand, I'll make a T chart and it'll help me make a decision or whatever. At 12, like, I think the trade was absolutely awful, not to mince words. Like, it was bad because you drop down 20 spots and you get what? You get a second round pick, you get a third round pick. I mean,
Yeah.
this is Rick Spielman stuff, right? You don't even
Yeah.
get a 2023 first, which is
Mm-mm.
the reason you probably want to trade down. I mean, maybe you're not getting that offer, but at the same time, you're looking at that and you're just like, okay, like, eventually you are going to have to get a quarterback because you have to pay Justin Jefferson. You have to, avoid all this kicking the can down the road that you've been doing since you stepped into the general manager role. Like, there has to be some thought about the future at some point. And you can argue
Yep.
that taking somebody at 32 is still thinking about the future. And the Vikings do have a lot of holes on the roster, right? They have holes on the back end of the secondary. They have holes at edge rusher. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this draft. So when you look at it in that way, it makes sense that Kwesi would want to trade down and get more picks. What I don't like about the trade is that you strengthened a divisional rival. And I know it's just the
Yeah.
Lions. I know
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's like Mr., kneecap biting fullback guy, and you got this guy in Aiden Hutchinson. They turned in the card so quick to take Aiden Hutchinson. Like, it was Seth Rollins running to cash in Money in the Bank. Just like, oh my God, the Jaguars are dumb. Let's do this. And I don't know what that means about Trayvon Walker. But yeah, it probably means they screwed up. But Lewis Cine does not matter if Jamison Williams is running past him on go routes and burning the defense. So that is something that does not make sense for me. And especially when you trade down and you see Malik Willis sitting there at 32 and you go, nah, we're good. Like, I wish I could love anything as much as Kevin O'Connell loves Kirk Cousins. Like, his undying support for Kirk Cousins, who is a good quarterback, by the way. I know there are going to be trolls be like, no, Chris, you're negative. You're whatever. He's a good quarterback. And you know what? He
Mhm.
has the capability to lead this team to a big season, and he just hasn't done it. Whether it's Mike Zimmer, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's roster construction, whatever. Like, he just hasn't done it. And until he does it, whatever. And when that happens, if Kirk Cousins leads this team to a Super Bowl, build a statue of him. Like, seriously, like, I'd be on board. If he won the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, we could put him on a pedestal, put his big face up on a banner in US Bank Stadium or whatever, and we can all live happily ever after. But he's 34 years old, and you sign him to a 1-year extension. So, like, why wouldn't you just take Willis at a discount? You don't have to trade up for him. You could just take him right there. You could bury him for a year or two. And if he stinks, oh well. Like, people bash the Jordan Love pick, and it was probably a bad pick for where the Packers were at. But you get
They didn't
Malik
ex
Willis
they
for
yeah,
4 years.
yeah. They didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to be an MVP 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and they didn't trade. I mean, the Packers traded up. That makes that pick worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you sit with Willis for a year and you go and he's just blowing the doors off, okay. But I mean, sometimes you just got to take a risk. And I think this front office, I think this franchise as a whole has been so risk averse. Like, watching this draft, I'm like, why did you fire Rick Spielman? Like it makes no sense. You're making splashes, signings to Darius Smith. You're extending everybody that was on the team, a roster that has not been over 500 and 800 days, by the way. Like, there's just so much here that I look at and I go, why? I don't understand it. And maybe there's a bigger plan. Maybe Quasey has an idea. Yeah,
So does your opinion
I
change
don't
tomorrow though?
understand it.
Does it change if they take Willis with pick 34? Because I don't think the Bucks are gonna take Malik Willis. Maybe they do. I don't think so though.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. But I feel like
But like,
I
yeah, but
feel
why would you
like
take him? Yeah, why would you take him in the second round that doesn't have the 5th-year option
correct.
and not the
Yeah,
first? So they probably
yeah.
won't then.
Like, in this draft class for quarterbacks, everybody hated it. Like, we saw
Yeah, it's
that
not
tonight.
good.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett was the only first round quarterback, and even then, you're just going,
20th.
"Oh, you're taking Mr. Mid, hometown
Yeah,
hero."
and everyone,
Though that was the big
I
theme of the night,
and
actually.
I heard
Yeah,
everyone has had a first round grade on Desmond Ritter. I heard all that talk, and he didn't go in the first round. You know, there's still Malik Willis. There's still some other guys as well. Yeah, like people just really didn't like the quarterback class this year, and apparently everyone's all just waiting for next year, and which could be what the Vikings are doing. They're gonna have to figure out a way to probably get another first round pick unless they suck next year and they're, picking in the top 5. But
yeah,
it just doesn't seem like it seems like Kirk Cousins is the guy. Um,
and that's
maybe tomorrow,
okay.
and it is okay, and maybe tomorrow
Yeah,
they draft someone at 32 if they draft a quarterback. But right now it looks like they're trying to just, yeah. You mentioned before we even went live that they're with these picks that are earlier in the rounds are trying to get guys that can potentially be starters immediately, and if not, just make a bigger impact than some of the guys um, that you would get towards the end of the draft, like Rick Spielman would do. They're trying to get guys, even if they're not going to get top tier first round elite talents, they're going to get solid guys that have a better chance at succeeding than some of the guys, Rick Spielman would get in the 6th or 7th round. Um, yeah, the Lions trading for the 12th pick and then getting I think them getting Jameson Williams made the trade feel even worse than it
hmm
might have been because you're like, well, now the Vikings have to deal with this guy like, twice a year, and they right now they don't have the weapons to cover him. And if the Lions get a quarterback and those two, develop this, power duo or whatever for the next few years, and that's going to be a problem. And the Vikings are going to be like, why did we do that? Why did we trade with someone in the division and let them get this player? Like, I don't know. I understand division. like division games aren't as big as they used to because there's 17 games, but still, like, you still have to have the best record in your division to win and everything. So I don't know. There was just a lot of stuff that went on tonight. Like there were a lot of trades. Trades with picks, trades with players. What Hollywood Brown went to the Cardinals, AJ Brown went to the Eagles, Chiefs traded up, Bucks traded up. Oh no, Jaguars traded up, uh Lions traded up, Saints traded up, like so many teams traded, and that just shows you I think teams didn't view even this whole entire class as one that was, elite. Like the first couple picks, that's about it. And then
And I think,
yeah.
yeah, and I think that maybe what Quasi saw was that the prospects at the back end of the first round and maybe that early second round were comparable to some of the players that were going off the board.
Yeah, he
And
had to. He had to.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, there were
Yeah.
some exceptions. Like I think Jordan Davis is an elite prospect, but then again, he can probably only play two downs, right? So I
I mean, Jermaine
mean,
Jermaine Johnson went what? 26th? And a lot of people were like,
mhm.
"Oh, he could be top 5 pick." He went
Yeah.
26th to the
I mean,
Jets.
there are like 50 people in this draft where they're like, yeah, he could be a round one pick. It's like, well, there's only 32 picks. So
I don't think anyone saw Cole Strange going in the first round though.
did
That
you
was
see the
a
video of the
bit of a
Rams
shocker.
laughing at the pick?
Yes, yes, they were like,
Yeah.
"Wow, okay."
They
Yeah,
wanted him to get his doctorate. I'm telling you, man.
the Rams are having a lot of fun. Did you see that movie trailer that they made? That was really good.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it was funny. But yeah, Cole Strange, who did the Chiefs got what Karlaftis at the end there. They
Hmm.
got Trent McDuffie. Yeah, all the
Hmm.
all the corners went off the board before the Vikings had their pick. That was the thing too. Like they traded and they gave up their first round pick, but then they went to the all the way to the end of the first round. And I understand maybe giving up the package that they did to maybe like someone at 20, like to the Steelers, like a lot of people thought they would. But to go all the way to the back to the first round, yeah, it, I don't know, like in all the like the evaluations, like the points and everything, as far as like it's not the Jimmy Johnson thing anymore. I think it's something else. Um, I think Thor
Rich Hill.
Nystrom, yeah, Thor Nystrom might have tweeted out that the Lions like got the most points out of this trade, which makes no sense. Like, if you're trading down, you
Yeah.
should get a trade that helps you. And maybe it does. Maybe the Vikings wanted to make sure they got as many picks in the first 3 rounds that they could, and, they don't because they don't have a 4th rounder, maybe they just wanted to make sure that they just are able to get as many picks as they can before the 4th round, because they probably view that last pick in the 3rd round as a 4th rounder now.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what they do tomorrow, if they trade some more, if they try to get a 4th rounder. Um, there's a bunch of good players still available, uh, as there usually is in the 2nd round. There's both quarterbacks available, Desmond Ridder and Malik Willis, and Sam Howell, which was the worst rumor I've heard to the Vikings.
It was a
Uh,
meme. That's what it was. It was a meme. It
yeah,
was people
yeah.
just screwing around, and then people started taking it as a rumor.
It wasn't
And
funny.
those are the best kind of memes, though.
It was not funny.
Honestly,
I didn't
I
like that.
laughed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm
But yeah,
only laughing because it didn't come true. Like if the Vikings would have taken Sam Howell at 12, I probably would have come on here and been. I mean, I don't think I'm angry. I think I'm just more confused than anything. I was angry at first, and now it's kind of like that because you also look at Cine, and
I was just gonna
he's
say,
a
let's talk about
good,
the guy that they drafted.
yeah, he's a good
He's good.
prospect. I mean,
Yeah,
22 years old, 9.92 RAS, relative
that's very
athletic
good.
score. Part of an insane Georgia defense, which is basically like the 2019 LSU offense. So
Yep.
if you want to go ahead and get a whole bunch of players from that,
Well,
I'm not going
they
to
had,
be
they had,
against it.
they had 5 first-round picks. Yeah,
Yeah.
from
I mean,
defense.
so you slot in Scene next to Harrison Smith,
Yep.
and I assume you have him battle with Cam Bynum, which I would hope he would beat him out. And here's the other thing too. Maybe, and this could be another galaxy brain thing,
Be three
but
safety
Cam
look.
Bynum, yeah, yep, and Cam Bynum was a cornerback at
Yep, he
Cal.
was. Yep.
Like there's a lot of positionless football almost.
Mhm.
Like you see it on the offensive end, like a guy like Debo, he can play wide receiver, running back, or whatever. And I'm not saying like these guys are like Debo or anything on the defense, but they talk about illusion of complexity, right? You
Yep.
might have some packages where Cam Bynum plays a little bit of a little bit of corner. You might have a package where maybe Lewis Cine is in the box or whatever. One thing that I like, and they were talking about this. I can't remember who said the tweet. So I mean, if you're watching this and you're like, "Hey, that's my tweet," I'm super sorry. But they were talking about like these heat-seeking safeties, like the big hits that they get in today's NFL. Like it's a flag. Like 20 years ago, it was
Yeah.
Rodney Harrison's gonna knock someone's head off. Now, like they'll put him in handcuffs the second the hit happens. We've seen Harrison Smith get ejected and fined and suspended even for games because of hits like this. So I don't know. I mean, the pick in a vacuum, it's
He's
fine.
fast. He's fast. He ran
Yeah.
4.37.
What was the name? Tyrell
That's
Johnson?
that's
Is
faster
that the
than
name? He was
what?
fast too, and he just wasn't very good.
Well,
Like
was
I
he a
think
first? Well, he
Arkansas
wasn't a first
State,
round pick though, was he?
he was a
No.
second round pick, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
he
mean,
wasn't
I'm
a first.
just saying, like, oh, he's fast. Well,
And
that
he was
doesn't.
picked by what? The Childress regime?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know too
So
much. We don't even know too much about this current regime, and I feel like I would trust them more than the Childress regime, uh, based on their
I don't know. Chile
record.
went to an NFC Championship game.
Yeah, because he signed
I'm
Brett
not
Favre.
defending him. Yeah, I know. That's the joke. Like
Yeah,
McBain.
yeah, yeah. I don't have a problem with the guy they picked. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, what is this trade? Like, what? How did it feels like an inexperienced GM got fleeced by another team. That's what it feels like.
Um, the movie Draft Day. Like, remember? So
Which I
Kevin
have not seen.
Costner or
I have not
Sonny.
seen you.
Okay, so in the movie, um, Sonny Weaver Jr. trades up for the number one overall pick, right? So he gets there and he's supposed to take this guy who's like basically like a Trevor Lawrence prospect, Bo Callahan, and he
Mhm.
finds out all this stuff, including like his teammates didn't go to his birthday party. And this movie sucks. I'm not afraid to admit it, but it sucks so bad it's awesome. Like I love it.
I've
So
heard so
it's really
much about it.
confusing.
I'm gonna have to watch it one day.
Anyway, like at one point, like he takes this other guy that he wanted to take, and everybody's mad at him, and they're like, "Why did you trade so much to get this franchise quarterback?" So then he tries to get all of his picks, and he decides to trade 3 years of second round picks to trade back into the first round because the Jacksonville Jaguars GM is inexperienced and doesn't know what he's doing, and all the guys are off the board. So he's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I'll take 3 second round picks for the sixth overall pick. So
There you
maybe
go.
that's what happened to Quasey. He's like, oh my God, like, we don't really want to take a safety here, and we don't want to take a wide receiver because Keenan McCardell stood up in front of the room and he was like, don't take a receiver. We have so many holes on this team and everything else. Or maybe it was like dodgeball, collaboration and everything. It was just like a panel of 5 guys. You got Kevin O'Connell, you got Keenan McCardell, you got Karen from accounting, and at the end you have Chuck Norris, and they all just give up like thumbs up or thumbs down, and like Chuck Norris goes at the end like the thumbs up, and he's like, "Thank you, Chuck Norris. No,
Yeah.
thank you,
Listen,
Kevin O'Connell."
I mean, inexperience is definitely a factor. Like I'm sure Kwesi was very nervous tonight. His first draft as a general manager. He's what,
Oh, he
30?
said the draft room was going to be calm though. It was just going to be a good time. Yeah, we're just going to chill out, hang
Sure,
out, make some
it
picks,
can be
whatever.
calm.
Like a
Doesn't mean he
fantasy
is.
football draft, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't
What
mean
do
that
you think?
he's. Yeah, it doesn't mean that he's
What
gonna
do
be
you?
calm.
Sorry
No,
to
you're okay.
interrupt you. What do you
Yeah.
think the song of the day was today?
Oh
Because
god.
like they have a song of the day, so like
It was.
maybe you know.
I mean, it was really. I really enjoyed Chris Thomason tweeting about Pusha T the other day. So I don't think I ever saw that coming from the Spielman Zimmer regime. I don't know what today's song was, but uh I don't know. I think inexperience played a factor into that trade. I think it might have been one where maybe Quasey was overthinking some things too much, and he's like, "Oh, we got all these picks. Look at this value," and then he's like, "Wait a minute, we probably didn't get enough in exchange for the number 12 pick." Um, so I I don't know. I didn't like the trade, but I like the guy that they got. I like that, and he's still got a lot of picks to you know make Vikings fans happier. I think Vikings fans are probably fine with the pick as well. It's just the trade. You're like, okay, but clearly the Vikings didn't think anyone that was on the board at the time or on the 12th pick was worth, you know, not getting that extra pick because they did what? They did get an extra pick. They got that third rounder. And they moved
Mhm.
higher in the second round. And that to them probably means a lot more than getting someone who could be good, who probably look like you said, maybe wasn't that big of a difference between the guy they picked at 32 and the people who were available at 32 because this draft is not full of blue chip guys. And all the
Mhm.
guys that were rumored to go to them, Stingley went third. Uh, Thibodeau was even mocked them a couple times. He went what fifth. A bunch of guys just off the board because they were good, and then they weren't
Yeah.
there. So the Vikings were like, "All right, let's see if we can get more picks." So that's what I think. What happened? They're like, these there's not much of a difference between the guys at the back end we could get and the guys right now. So let's just try and get some picks that we can. The trade probably looks worse than it was, and we'll see what they do tomorrow. So that's all I have to say for today. Do you have any closing comments? Because that's all I got for today.
Yeah, we'll just see what they do tomorrow. I
Yeah.
mean, that our job is to basically break down every decision and criticize when we think they're bad. I mean, kind of looking back on it, it's just like, okay, I'm a little calmer now than I was when it happened.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think I'm just more confused than
Hey,
mad,
listen,
especially,
listen. The Packers
yeah.
didn't draft a receiver because the Lions
Yeah,
did.
I wonder what
So,
kind of cleanse Aaron Rodgers is going to go on now. Like, is he
yeah.
just going to light himself on fire now and just be like, you better draft it? Like somebody was telling me, they're like,
What they
there's
get a
no way they
linebacker and a
don't draft
defensive tackle?
yeah. And
Yeah.
here's the
Yeah.
thing, there wasn't a good receiver to draft. Like,
No.
if they took Sky Moore, or I mean, maybe he's good, or Christian Watson, I mean, they would have been roasted if they had taken, or even like George Pickens was rumored at
Yeah.
22 and whatever their other pick was. Like, it makes sense to take those defensive players. It's just funny because it's another year without a first round receiver. Their last one was Javon Walker. I was in high school when
Former
that
Viking.
happened.
Former Viking
Yep.
for like a summer. Um, who is their number one receiver? Sammy Watkins?
Yeah. Sammy 9 games.
Or do they even have is
Or is it
Valdez
Alan
Scantling?
Lazard? No, he's
Is
in
Valdez?
Kansas City now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
Alan
the
Lazard and
Tyreek
Sammy
Hill
Watkins.
replacement.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. And Aaron Rodgers didn't want to go to the Broncos, so good luck to the Packers. I'm sure they'll win like 14 games or something, whatever next year. So who cares?
Yeah.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, no.
All
Let's see what
right.
happens tomorrow.
Let's get some beauty sleep so we can see what the Vikings do tomorrow. They'll be on the clock very early. I believe the second round starts at 6 p.m. Central. So make sure you're
Yeah, be
tuning
in your
in
seats.
immediately. And then
Mhm.
they have the what 66th pick in the third round, and I want to say 76 or 77 as
77.
well. Yeah, in the third
Yeah.
round. So they got two picks in the third, one in the second. Right now, as we can tell from today, there could be a lot of trades. So we'll see what happens with that. But before we go, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and head to the description because we are still giving away a free Justin Jefferson jersey That sweepstakes lasts until May 6th. Head to the description for the details on that. Terms and conditions apply. Make sure to follow the Viking Age on Twitter and Facebook. But until next time, Chris and I will talk to you later.